It's the Sean Show. Welcome back. Episode 35. I think I have everything set up for the show. We'll find out. We fucked around. We'll find out. So, let's talk about this. What do we got on the agenda today? I'm just going to get straight into the agenda, actually. Boom. I've got a few things. This is going to be a bit of a longer show as we're getting into week 16 of 18 in the NFL. And we're going to look at the playoff pictures. We're going to look at some contract incentive bets. We're going to look at a few different things. And I've got the weather report for the games, like I usually do. So here we go. Let's get into it. Show plug-in updates. Where are we at? This is the Sean Show, Monday, Tuesday, Sunday. Good morning, America. It is Sunday, Monday, Saturday for you guys if you're going to tune in. Today is the Sunday show for Australia, or Saturday. Oh, actually, it's Sunday morning in the US. Like I said, good morning. We're going to go over today's shit. We're going to put in our bets. This is what we do on today's show. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Show updates. Well, I'm going to be looking at doing some video stuff very, very soon. So, keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for more platforms. I know I've been harping on about it for a few weeks now, but life mentality keeps you down. But anyway, let's get into it. So first up, week 16 weather report plus the pick. So let's get into that. In the middle of this, I'll be talking about playoff scenarios as well, but we'll get to that at the very end. So without further ado, sorry, I'm just trying to get everything up right now. I'm so fucking prepared all day for this show, and then when crunch time comes, I'm like, bruh, where is everything? Okay, so I think we're set up. I'm pretty sure I'm set up, and let's hope it's good. Perfect. Let's fucking go. Okay, so this week we've got a massive fucking slate, as you can see right here. So we're gonna do our picks. How'd we go with our other picks? Yep, Kansas City won, and no, the Steelers did not cover, and they did not win. So 1 for 2 this week against the spread. Anyway, that shit's in the past, and we don't care. So we are going to move on to the first game of the week. Looks like it's Giants-Falcons. Atlanta still has a chance. They're still in the hunt. They're one loss behind Tampa Bay, and they are playing their rookie quarterback right this week, though. So I actually am not sure how I'm going to go. This is a dome game. Weather doesn't matter. Atlanta is favored by 8.5 points. Giants are actually kind of, they're just trying to get that number one pick so that they can get, I think his name's Shea. I don't know. Anyway. Boom, we're going Falcons. We're not going to look too deep into this one. I know it's a rookie quarterback. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants do win this game, but if their quarterback is being really bad on the Falcons side, I'm sure they're probably just going to bring in Kirk Cousins. What else? Ravens did go absolutely ham on the Giants last week. Lamar threw for 5 touchdowns. Derrick Henry ran for like 160, so I'm just going to stick with the Falcons here. I'm not even going to open up the injury report. Next game, we have Cardinals-Panthers. My list is slightly different. Let me find my Cardinals game here. Here we are. We've got Arizona, favored 4.5 points going into Carolina. It's going to be clear skies. It's not freezing, but it's still going to be very cold. I do believe it's 40 degrees Celsius. 40 degrees Fahrenheit, so really fucking cold. We got 5-mile-an-hour winds. And yeah, what else do we have to say? The Carolina Panthers are essentially eliminated here, sitting at 3-11 right now. I don't know. That's pretty strong when you're looking at the number one pick. So I don't think they're gonna get it. What else? Cardinals are on the bubble. They're 2 losses behind the current 7 seed, so losing this week is absolutely going to cripple their playoff chances. They do need to win this one. I will go with the Cardinals here just because they're playing for something. Bryce Young, though, has been really stepping up, so don't be surprised if the Panthers cover here. Don't know how Kyler Murray's actually been doing recently, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina tanks it, but I'm going with Cardinals because they've got something to fight for. Next up, we do have the Lions versus the Bears. So, Detroit favored by 6.5 points going into Chicago. It is going to be windy in the Windy City. We got 15-mile-an-hour winds. That's massive. We got a chance of drizzle, in terms of rain. That's at least what the weather report told me. And it's basically going to be freezing temperature. So, yeah, probably about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah. Lions right now, they're in a three-headed race for the first seed, which will give them the first round bye. They can decide this if they win out on week 18 versus the Vikings. That's going to mean a massive thing, but they don't get to verse the Eagles at all until the foreseeable future in the playoffs, if that happens to come down to it. The Lions defense is also getting thinner. They released safety Brandon Joseph after a DUI. So I do want to go over here and show you what their depth chart looks like right now. And when you have a look at their safeties, it is grim. So we've got one free safety, Kirby Joseph. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt. We got two strong safeties, questionable, and their third string is like okay. So don't know what to do here. Lions, they're fighting. I just think they can put up more points than the Bears. It is going to be a divisional, but I don't know what's going on with the Bears right now. They're probably going to put up some points themselves through the air, but I do believe that Lions do go into this game and win it. 6.5 points to cover. Yeah, I'm going to say so. The Lions did lose last week, so they kind of want to stomp somebody, I think, to make themselves feel better. So I will take the Lions here against the spread as well. I think it's probably pretty fair. But yeah, 15-mile-an-hour winds. Yikes. It's going to be a bit of a hefty run game. I do have a parlay on a receiving touchdown, though, so there is that. All right, so let's get rid of that. We're going with the Lions. Next game up, we got Titans versus the Colts. All right, this one is a dome game. Indianapolis is favored by 3.5. Colts are trying to stay alive in the race, and I believe if they win, their playoff chances go to 10%. Take that with a grain of salt, though, because after this week, the AFC could be completely locked up, and these guys might not even have a shot. We'll talk about that after this, though. Anything else to talk about this game? Not really. It's kind of a rubbish game. What can I say? I'll just go with the Colts at home. Titans have been stinking. Titans have been really stinky lately. They don't take average points per game 20. I was about to say they don't take that many points per game, but this thing just shit on my dreams. So yeah, I'm just gonna go with the Colts here. 3.5 does seem okay. Anthony Richardson will probably run at least one touchdown in himself if he can't find anything. Look for a big play to his main man. I can't think of who it is. The Colts are a bit of a shitter right now. Who is the guy that I'm trying to talk about? Is their main wide receiver? I should know this. I really, really should know this. Michael Pittman. Yeah, good chance he catches like one or two deep balls, gets some good yardage. You might want to take the over on him. But having said that, we'll move on. I am going with the Colts here. That's a divisional game as well. And that is a divisional game. Divisional game right here. Is this fucking divisional game? I think this is a divisional game as well. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It doesn't look like any of these two teams or these two teams will be going through. Next up, we're talking about the Rams versus the Jets. If you're unclear, we're taking the Colts. And we're taking them against the spread, 3.5. Next up, we do have the Los Angeles Rams going into Shit Life Stadium to keep their playoff chances alive against the Jets, who people seem to think are starting to roll up again, but like it's too little too late. Even if you're playing for pride, like just go fuck yourself. Simple. Next, so where is my little thing here for this? All right, so the Rams are favored at 2.5 points going into Shit Life Stadium. It is going to be clear skies. It is below freezing temperatures as well. Only 9 mile per hour winds in the Factory of Sadness 2.0. Rams currently holding their division based off Seattle's head-to-head because they've got the same record, and they're trying to maintain wins until week 18 because in week 18, they get to have that decider against Seahawks if it comes down to that. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Rams here. I don't. They've got something to play for. These guys playing with pride. I don't give a shit if they started looking better last week. MetLife Stadium is a heap. I'm telling you. And the Jets themselves, they're cursed. Until something happens with that head office, I'm talking about a certain 17-year-old named Brick. Until they get this shit figured out, this team is going to suck. This team is going to suck. You could put the whole Kansas City team on the Jets and they wouldn't win. That's a massive statement. Next up, what do we have? We have the Eagles versus the Commanders. This is going to be an okay match. I do think Commanders will get slapped here, though. Where is this game for me? All right, so Philadelphia, they are already locked in for the NFC East champions. They are trying to get themselves that first round bye. As you can see, they're on the same record as the Lions and the Vikings. So what have they got coming up? I do believe they only have divisional games, maybe. They've got they've got Washington this week, then Dallas next week, and then week 18 is the Giants. So there's a very good chance that they exit the season at 15-2. Like I said, they're favored 3.5. Commanders currently do hold the 7th seed spot, but a loss here could open up the door to either Seattle and Los Angeles Rams to take that 7th seed if they don't happen to take their own division. A little bit of information here about Washington clinching this playoff spot. In the two scenarios I have here, they do need to win out. They do need to win this game to lock themselves into a playoff spot this week. But we will go over that in a little bit. In this game, I'm going with the Eagles. They're just a better team, and that's all I have to say. They're fighting for their number 1 seed. Commanders, they're trying to get into the playoffs. They currently hold the 7th seed. I'm still going to go Eagles here. Favored at 3.5 is very, very good as well. It is a divisional game, I know that, but when you look at both of these squads, Commanders started off really hot, but the Eagles didn't start off as hot, but they have just been steady and getting better and better and better and better. So we are going with Philadelphia going in to Washington to take out that game at the 3.5 favorites. Next up, what do we have going on here? We've got Browns and Bengals. This game's a bit of a nothing game almost. Not almost, it is essentially a nothing game. Like I said, we'll talk about the playoff picture later. Cincinnati is favored by 9.5 points. Cleveland Browns are starting DTR this week, so Jameis Winston will be on the bench. Having said that, if things start to go really bad, I wouldn't be surprised if they bench DTR and bring your old boy Jameis Winston out, and that would be an electric game. If Jameis was starting this game, I would not like this line, but he's not. So it's Cincinnati 9.5 favorites. It's going to be a clear sky. It's almost freezing as well. There's minimal winds. Bengals are trying to stay in the race. It does look grim for them. They got a 13% chance to make the playoffs if they win, pending everything else this week. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati here. You could probably take Myles Garrett for a sack, actually. He has addressed the team, or at least the head office, and said, I want to know what you guys are doing for next season, because I'm not down for a rebuild. I'm in a fucking career, and I need to win. I'm trying to go for legacy. I still take the Bengals here. You know, that's just how it is. Browns defense is nice, though. Is nice, but the Cincinnati offense is nicer. So we're going to go with the Bengals over the Browns. Yeah, I'll take the 9.5 if DTR's playing as well, for sure. Next up, we got Vikings and the Seahawks. So we're looking for Seahawks. So Minnesota has secured themselves a playoff spot at the 5th seed, 12-2 with the Lions and the Eagles, chasing that number 1 seed. They have lost the head-to-head to Detroit, but they do get to play them again this year to try and even that out. Like I said, they're favored 2.5. Seattle is trying to make the playoffs. I don't think they're in playoff position at the moment. I think the Rams are, actually. I want to go over standings really quick just to see if I'm right or wrong. It could actually be Rams right now. Yeah, it's the Rams right now. They won that head-to-head. So, Seattle is chasing, 1, the division over here, and 2, a playoff spot. At least that 7th seed, depending on what happens to Washington throughout these weeks. Like I said, hold on, I've lost my... Minnesota is favored by 2.5. There is a definite chance of rain. It will rain during this game. 49 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's not as cold as the other games. 7-mile-an-hour winds. Not a whole lot of wind going on. And I've already kind of talked about these guys' playoff chances. I'm going to go with the Vikings here. A lot of people are saying this is a bit of a sus line at 2.5. But even though the Seahawks have something to play for, I just don't think Geno's the guy. Taking the Vikings to go into Seattle and take that dub. Next up, we've got Pats versus Bills. I don't know what to say about this game, honestly. Bills favored by 14.5 points. That's huge. This is the first time they'll meet this season as well, because the Bills in the next 3 weeks, they've got to verse the New England Patriots, and they have to verse their divisional Jets, and then they again have to verse the New England Patriots. So there's an easy 3 wins going up for the Bills coming into the playoffs. Bills still trying to hold that first round, trying to get that first round bye. 1 loss will absolutely take them out of it, because they are... what are they, 2 losses behind? They're 2 losses behind these guys. Yeah, 2 losses behind Kansas City, so it's starting to look very grim for that number 1 seed for the Bills. But still, they've locked up the AFC. It's not an issue. Definitely the 2nd seed in the AFC. I again have lost my game because I was scrolling my mouse around. And there it is. Talked about the weather. Oh no, I haven't. It's going to be clear skies in Buffalo. Could get down to 9 degrees Fahrenheit though. I didn't see any snow in the weather report when I looked at it. 9 degrees Fahrenheit is fucking freezing though. If you're an Australian, in context, or if you use the other system, it's minus 12 degrees Celsius during this game, or at least by the end of this game. So it's going to get cold. This is slightly in the evenings. It's a later game, so yeah, it's just going to get colder. I mean, yeah, 100% on the Bills. There's no. I'm not even going to fuck around here. We're just going with the Bills. 14.5 points. I'd take it. I might even buff it up to 21 points, to be honest. Next up, we've got Jags going into Las Vegas for an absolute shit show battle for draft position 1. Jags might not get it. Raiders really don't want to win here. You really don't want to win this game. Jags favor 2.5. Like I said, it's a dome game. Weather doesn't matter. I'm going to go with the Jags. Not a big fan of Mac Jones myself. Jags defense is probably better than the Raiders defense, as Max Crosby is out for the rest of the season. Aiden O'Connell is playing this week, which helps their chances. I don't know, it's a bit of a pick 'em, and it really doesn't matter what you pick, because this game means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I'm going to go with the favorite. I'm going to go with Jacksonville, actually. They're not favored. They're actually dogs by 2.5 points, but I'm going to take Jacksonville here. Raiders really need to figure something out, man. They really, really need to figure something out. Okay. Oh, we've only got 3 more games. We've actually crushed this section. Thought I was going to be chatting a whole lot more, looking at a lot more depth charts and stuff, but I'm actually not too interested in injuries this week. If I'm being totally honest with you. Just rocking it. We're just fucking rocking it. Okay, 49ers versus the Dolphins. San Fran is very, very much prowling on the bubble, basically out of it. Dolphins fighting to try and make it. They'll need to win out. But like I said, AFC could be locked up at the end of this week and they won't even have a chance. San Fran's favored by 1.5 points. It's going to be a warmish day compared to the rest of the slate this week. So 71 degrees Fahrenheit in Miami. It's going to be kind of nice compared to everything else. Actually, it's going to be somewhat warm compared to the rest of the games. It's reported as mostly cloudy, and it has been reported that will be 8-mile-an-hour winds. Like I said, dire straits for the Niners here. Even winning the game gives them less than 1% chance of the playoffs. But either way, loser of this game is likely eliminated. Depending on the rest of the slate, both teams are likely eliminated. So these guys will be fighting. It could be an okay game, but I wouldn't trust it. Last week, the Dolphins actually, Tua has been picked off most recently and most commonly when he's been throwing it to Tyreek. So perhaps Niners get a pick six. Niners defensive touchdown. That could be something that you look at in one of your parlays or your legs. But I don't even know what I want to pick here, to be honest. I kind of want to take the Dolphins at home just because the Niners have not really done anything. But the Dolphins also have just been so bad this season. Christ. I did hear that as good as San Fran and Brock Purdy is with their play action, they've only been doing it like 30% or 15. I think it's 30% of their snaps have been play action. So they really need to get back to that game. And the Dolphins are a timing-based offense. So if their receivers get janked up, if shit goes bad, plays aren't getting completed. Having said that, I'll probably go with the Niners, honestly. I will take the Niners here. 1.5 point favorites. You may as well just pick them to win because 1 point is... Yeah. Again, I'm going with the Niners here in this very, very warm game. Last game for the Sunday is Tampa Bay versus the Cowboys. This is Sunday night football. In Dallas, it's a dome game. Weather doesn't matter. Tampa Bay is favored by 4.5 points. Bucks are trying to hold on to the NFC South. They're one win ahead of the Falcons as well. And they should be able to win out the rest of their schedule because it is fairly easy. They've got Dallas, then they've got Carolina, and then they've got New Orleans. So it's a good chance Buccaneers finish the season 11-6, which is not too bad, and that should really secure their playoff spot within their own division, because I don't think Atlanta switching to their rookie QB this week is, I don't know, man. It's unless he's an absolute killer and he's been just balling in practice, they're kind of throwing away their playoff chances. I'm not gonna doubt. I'm not gonna hate. I'm just gonna go with the Bucks. Boom. This Cowboys offense is kind of ass without a good quarterback. I don't like Cooper Rush that much. The defense is good, but Bucks offense is better. I'm gonna go with the Bucks here, favored by 4.5. I'll take the against the spread as well. They'll win. They'll probably go against the spread. We got Bucks. Final game of the week is Saints versus Green Bay. This is Monday Night Football. This is gonna be a big one. Whoa, 100% of people picking the Packers. Let's go. Green Bay is favored by 13.5. This is probably in part due to Derek Carr still being out. They're running Rattler this week. They are running Rattler. I myself do prefer Jake Hayner as the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints rather than Rattler, but I guess they're going to go with Rattler. So he takes freezer reps. Sheesh, he's going to need it, man. So Green Bay favored 13.5. Currently just below freezing. Mostly cloudy. 3.5 mile an hour winds. Now, this is a very, very early weather report. I would check the update tomorrow just to see what's going on. There's a good chance it could snow. But yeah, that's a very, very early weather report. I would not take that one as fact. I'd have that one with a grain of salt. New Orleans is 5-9. They're basically not going to make the playoffs. 8 wins, like I've said earlier in the season, is probably going to be the cutoff, if not 7. So the Saints are really kind of fucked here. And then Green Bay can actually clinch a playoff berth this week with a win. All they need to do is win, and they get at least the 6th seed. You know, they're not going to get the 5th seed unless a miracle happens and either the Lions or the Vikings lose 3 games in a row. Doubt it's going to happen. Green Bay to clinch, Green Bay to win. Green Bay to cover 13.5 points. I don't know. The thing about Green Bay is they'll get a lead, but they won't go and beat you by 40. They'll clock manage. They'll try to run clock. They won't just keep on putting points up on the board. And that's something that this Packers team really, really needs to do. I understand you need to get your defense a break. Having said that, might be smart to take Packers defensive touchdown this week. There is going to be picks. There will be picks. There will be picks. I'm just saying. Probably worth taking them. Should have put it in my milli bet, actually. Anyway, let's like I said, I'm picking the Packers. Taking the Packers. 13.5. I'm not a big fan of, just because of the way the Pack play when they're in the lead. So I'll take Packers to win, but I probably will not go with against the spread. And yeah, I guess that's the whole slate. Let's go over it really quickly for our picks. So we've got the Falcons holding home, trying to get a playoff spot against the Giants with a rookie quarterback. Next up, we've got the Cardinals going into Carolina to take out their divisional rival. We've got the Lions going into Chicago to absolutely stomp these boys in a windy, cold game. We've got the Colts to defend home territory against the Titans. Will not make the playoffs. Titans eliminated. Colts probably not going to playoffs. Let's be real. But I'm going with the Colts. Rams going into the Jets and just putting a little tick on that schedule for themselves and walking away with a W there. I'm not going to fall into this Jets hype. So I don't think you should either. Next up, we've got the Eagles going into Washington and just pound-towning them. That's fine. I do believe Eagles take that game. We've got the Bengals holding home turf against Cleveland this week. We're picking them. And you might want to go against the spread with that one as well, due to the rookie quarterback. We've got the Vikings versus the Seahawks. We've got the Vikings winning this one out. They are battling for that number 1 seed. They're still trying to do it. Seahawks, they are trying to do their best to get that 7th seed or their division. So it's going to be a pretty good game, but I still think the Vikings are a better team here. I'm going with the Vikings. Bills, Pats, not much to say. Pats are ace. They're eliminated weeks and weeks ago. Bills doing their thing. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think Josh Allen has a fucking day as well. Next, we've got the Jags going into Las Vegas and taking up a win against Aiden O'Connell and a Max Crosby-less Raiders team. Then we have the Niners winning a close game against the Dolphins. I have no idea what's going to happen in this game. It's the warmest game of the week, though. So you won't need to wear a blanket watching this one. Then we got Bucks going into Cowboys and just holding their own, getting that win right there. And then we've got the Packers decimating the Saints and giving themselves a playoff berth. Brilliant. Next thing that I want to talk about on the agenda is the playoff scenarios. So let's get to that. All right, here we are. Let me bring up this window so I can see it. So here we go. This is what it looks like right now. Who has clinched a spot? The Chiefs, the Bills, the Steelers, the Texans, the Ravens. Now, Steelers and Ravens are battling for that number 3 spot right now. They're battling it out. They've both secured it. So, do you want a home game or do you want to just rest up your dudes over the next few weeks? That's what the question's going to be. They're both going to be competitive anyway, and they're just going to go balls out. In the hunt, though, you've got the Chargers. You've got the Broncos. If things pan out in a certain way this week, the AFC could be absolutely locked up. So, for that to happen, for that to happen, whoa, jeez, Louise. So, if these three teams all lose this week, Miami, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis, if these three teams all lose this week, AFC is locked up. Boom. Those will be your 7 teams, and these guys will be eliminated. Doesn't matter. Any of this shit. If they lose, they're out. And that's simple. That's just how it is. Kansas City, first seed, with a Bills loss or a tie. That's not going to happen. They're going to be sweating it out for at least one more week. That's all I've got to say about the AFC. I'm not going to entertain the thought of these guys having a good chance to get in the playoffs because, like I said, as these three teams lose, they're going to be effectively eliminated from the playoffs. So just don't count on these three teams making it. Don't get excited. 8 is a lot of losses. They're 2 behind here. Come on, man. All right, now I want to talk about the NFC. On the NFC side of things, we've got the Lions. We've got the Eagles. We've got the Vikings. These guys are all locked in to go to the playoffs. The Lions, do I have any information on what they've got to do? No, they're just in the 3-headed race right now. Eagles, with a win or a tie this week, they actually clinch the NFC East, which means that the Commanders will be having to battle for the rest of the season for a 7th seed spot. And I do believe that the Eagles will win this week and clinch the division, meaning that they can just focus their efforts on getting that first round bye. And they should be able to win out. Like I said, they've got Washington, then they've got Dallas, and then they've got the Giants. 3 divisional games, but 3 divisional games that they can absolutely dominate. Now, for the Washington Commanders to clinch a playoff berth this week, they would need a win. They would need a win this week. They would need a loss or a tie from Atlanta, as well as a loss or a tie from the Rams. Alternatively, they could win, plus there could be a loss or a tie by Atlanta, or a loss or a tie by Seattle. So a lot rides on them winning this week. Again, I don't think it's going to happen, so we'll have to have this playoff clinching scenario updated next week, or at least after the games tomorrow. But yeah, that's what they need to do this week to clinch. They need losses from Atlanta and the Rams, or they need losses from Atlanta and the Seahawks, as well as beating the Eagles this week. Like I said, I don't think it's a very likely scenario, so these guys will be battling another week for that playoff spot. What else do we have going in here in terms of playoffs? With the Rams and with the Seahawks, these guys are currently tied up. Rams have the head-to-head over the Seahawks, which is why they're in the number 4 seed right now. This could absolutely flip towards the end of the season. Like I said, week 18, Seahawks and Rams do match up. So that's going to be the definitive decider for that division. But depending on what happens with these Commanders, like, they could get knocked out. And then it could be Seahawks. It could be Falcons. Don't think it's going to be the Cardinals, but it could be. Any team that has 8 losses are not making it through. That's how it is. Saints right here, they're going to lose this week. They're going to be eliminated. Simple as that. Next up, the last thing that I have to talk about is Green Bay's playoff chances. I didn't talk about the Bucs and how they can lock up, actually. I don't think they can lock up this week, actually. It wasn't in the scenarios, so they cannot lock up. I'm only talking about teams that can lock up in scenario today. So let's get over to Green Bay. So Green Bay clinches a playoff berth and the number 6 seed with a win. That's all they need. They win and they're in. But they could actually secure a playoff spot before their game actually starts. So in that case, if Atlanta and LA Rams, if they lose or tie, Green Bay make it. If Atlanta or Seahawks lose or tie, Green Bay make it. Safest thing for them to do is to just win the game against New Orleans, but their fate might be written before their game even starts. So I'm sure the Packers are going to be watching those 3 games this week, just hoping that Atlanta loses, hoping that Seattle loses to Miami. Seattle loses to Minnesota, my bad. They're hoping that bringing in that rookie quarterback for Atlanta makes them lose. The Rams, I do have to beat the Jets. So, there's that there. Again, Atlanta losing, Seahawks losing. Very, very, very possible this week. So, Packers might have that playoff spot before they get to play on Monday. Let's hope. And then we can just enjoy. We can just enjoy this game and enjoy the ass pounding that New Orleans is going to receive on Monday. I know you're all on the same boat. You're all on the same page as me right there. So, yeah, those were the playoff scenarios, guys. This shit could be locked up this week. If these 3 teams lose, AFC is how we see it right now. Things could obviously shift up and down. Steelers and Ravens could swap spots. Broncos, Chargers, they could, go 6 and 7 up and down between there. And then with 6 losses, it could even, either Pittsburgh or the Ravens might even drop to the 7th seed or something. Either way, the NFC is a different beast. It's not so simple. We've got these teams who can lock it up. Buccaneers cannot actually lock up anything this week. They can just win. Rams can't lock up anything this week. They can just win. Commanders can lock up based on certain scenarios that we went over. And the Packers can lock up by winning or with a couple of teams losing this week. That's the playoffs. That's what the playoffs are looking like right now, guys. That is absolutely what it looks like. I have been going over these tiebreaker procedures, but we don't need to look at those just yet. We'll talk about them in the next coming weeks when things are a lot more solidified on the back end. Cool. Well, we've gotten through that, guys. We got through that. That was pretty interesting stuff. That's not what I want to bring up. I want to bring up the agenda. So we've gone through our weather report. We've gone through our picks. We've gone through our playoff scenarios. So the next thing that I want to talk about is our bets. We are talking about our Betty Poos. So let's get straight into that. First up, I want to start with our Week 16 5-leg parlay. Can you hear me? I can hear me. 5-leg parlay. What do we have this week? We've got Philadelphia against the spread, favored 3.5 over Washington. We've got the Lions against the spread, favored 6.5 against the Bears. We've got LA going into the Jets against the spread, picking up 2.5 points. We've got Minnesota going into Seattle against the goddamn spread at 2.5 points. And then we've got Tampa going in to Dallas to win that game by 4.5 points. If you haven't noticed, I've picked all of the visiting teams this week. I have a 5-leg parlay of road fucking warriors. Ride this one with me, make some money, get a little bit of a Christmas bonus for yourself. I'm fairly confident about this one. Famous last words, right? Next up, what do I want to go over? I think the next thing that I want to go over is our Millie bet, actually. I want to go over the Millie bet right here. And then at the end, we'll do our contract incentives bet, because that's just how we do these things. We do the player props third. I don't know why it took me so long to sort that out in my brain, but that's okay. As you can see with the Millie bet. So we've got Marvin Harrison Jr. We have him picking up 90 plus yards. Marvin Harrison Jr. has the largest targets in the receiving core for Arizona at 92. Oh, sorry, not red zone targets, just overall targets. So over the season, Marvin Harrison Jr. has had 92 targets through the air. The closest receiver behind him is Michael Wilson, and he's got 60. So 32 more balls going Marvin Harrison Jr.'s way for the season. I would take him at 90 receiving yards. I want to see who they're playing because I've completely forgotten. Carolina, he's going to do it. Carolina currently has the worst rushing defense, which will hopefully open up the game to the passing. And Marvin Harrison can pick up his 90. Lovely. Also, Marvin Harrison Jr. has had a minimum of 6 targets in the last 4 games. So I believe it went like 6, 15 something and then 6. So a lot of ball going his way. Next on the Millie bet, the player prop bet, I do have Tank Bigsby getting 1 touchdown. Tank Bigsby, he leads red zone carries for his team. Not much more to say about that, honestly. Got him for a touchdown. Next, I got Drake May getting 1 of his own touchdowns. Now, this is not a passing TD. This is simply a him running the ball in or receiving a touchdown. Next up, I got Josh Allen. Same thing, 2 touchdowns, rushing or receiving, not passing. As we move down, we've got Puka Nacua for the Rams to get a touchdown. A little information about that. Puka does lead the team, the receiving core of the Rams for red zone targets. Typically, he gets at least 1 a game, and he leads the group by at least 3 targets just over the season. So it is spread out a little bit. The Rams did not have Puka and Cooper Kupp for a lot of the start of the season, so those numbers are very, very deflated. But again, Puka looks like their number 1 red zone target. I take him for a touchdown. Next up, we have David Njoku for the Browns to get a touchdown. So again, with the red zone targets, Njoku does lead the team's passing core in red zone targets. That is wide receivers and tight ends. He hasn't been so hot in the end zone over the last few weeks, but they are playing DTR, a rookie quarterback. And one thing about, inexperienced quarterbacks, I don't want to call him a rookie, is their best friend is their tight end. I say Njoku goes off this week. I say he grabs a touchdown. Tight end is an inexperienced QB's best friend. Next up, we do have Jackson Smith in Jigba being able to catch a touchdown against Minnesota this week in their loss. Next, we've got Anthony Richardson to rush a touchdown. I don't really have information on this one, but he usually does it if he doesn't see anything in the ground. This guy is fast. He's physical. He's athletic. He can run the ball in. He can throw the ball 60 fucking yards, and he can run the ball in 60 fucking yards, and he can take people out while he's doing it. I've got Anthony Richardson to pick up a touchdown this week. Who are they playing? Who are the Colts playing? The Titans. Yeah. He's going to get in there. He's getting in there. Finally, for our Millie bet, I actually changed this around. I had a different thing on, but then I decided with the lack of safety help in the Lions, I've got Rome Odunze to get a touchdown. He's looking to take advantage of a depleted Lions secondary. One reason why Dan Campbell went for the onside kick at 12 minutes last week against the Bills is because there was no fucking way that the Lions defense was stopping the Bills. So you either get the onside kick and get the ball back, or else you give them the ball with good field position. Hopefully they score very quickly, or else inevitably they can grab the ball and run in for a touchdown like they did, and you basically lost 0 clock time. So, not the worst decision, but not the greatest. He did give himself some clock time. Either way, I've got Roma Dunze to get that touchdown. He does also lead the passing core for the Bills in red zone targets. So that's the Millie Bet this week. If you don't know what the Millie Bet is, it's basically a 100,000 to 1 odd bet in which you just put $10 on, and if all of this shit comes out, we become a millionaire. So ride this one with me. It is a bit of a risky one, being straight TDs outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., but we are going to go with this. All right, so we're going to have a little bit of a break very, 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 very quickly. No, I want the Sean Show title. I'm just going to have a little sip of water because I've been talking like a goddamn animal. Time to move over to the sponsor as well. I'm kidding, there's no fucking sponsor for the show today, but the show is generally powered by something, and today it is powered by Coca-Cola chocolate flavored coconut water. It's the first time I've tried this shit. Honestly, it just tastes like chocolate milk, guys. Chocolate flavored coconut water. Basically, chocolate milk. And that's what the show's powered by today, guys. Try it out. Honestly, try it out. Okay, so for the final thing of this show today, I do want to go over our player bet. Now, this player bet is a contract incentive bet. So let's go over this one by one. First up, we've got Saquon Barkley. He's versing Washington this week, and they are the 8th worst rushing defense. He only needs 36 scrimmage yards to hit his final performance-based contract incentives pre-playoffs. 36 scrimmage yards. I've got him for 100. Fuck it. That's what he needs to get his final incentive. He has hit the majority of them. I think he needs like Offensive Player of the Year or first team Pro Bowl ballads, stuff like that, to pick up the rest of them. Plus, obviously, there's playoff win bonuses. But like I said, 36 scrimmage yards needed. Sirianni is going to get him those 36 yards, and he's going to push him overboard. I actually did have Saquon at like 150, and then I dropped it to 125, and then I was like, you know what, we'll just drop it to 100. Like I said, Washington is the 8th worst rushing defense. I think 100 plus rush yards is a very, very fair bet. Next up, we've got Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is versing the Colts this week. They are the 3rd worst rushing defense. Over the next 3 weeks, for Tony Pollard to hit his contract incentives, he needs 118 rush yards and he needs 2 touchdowns. That's over the next 3 weeks. So this week, I've got him for a cheeky little 60. He has to surpass 61 rush yards for that to hit, plus a touchdown against this Colts defense that cannot stop the rush. I feel like this one's pretty good. Next up, we've got Mike Evans. So he is versing Dallas, and they are the 12th worst passing defense on the season. What does Mike Evans need before the end of the season? Through the next 3 games, to hit one incentive that will give him $3 million, he needs another 18 catches. He needs 251 yards, and he needs 1 touchdown. That's through the next 3 weeks. So, to get him there, I've got him at 5.5 receptions, so he needs to get at least 6 catches this game. He needs to get at least 90 passing yards, or receiving yards, and then I want him to pick up that TD this week. Again, Dallas is the 12th worst passing defense. He could hit this prop this week, and then that will put him in a very, very good spot
to pick up the catches and the yardage for his $3 million incentive, which is actually that's a lot of money. So they're going to be trying to get him this one. Look at Baker trying to get that connection with Mike Evans. I wouldn't be surprised if, let's say he doesn't hit his 6 receptions this week. Next week, I would see him in the short passing game, just picking up 5 yards, boom, 5 yards, boom, reception, boom, reception. That's how I see it going. Hopefully, they just keep on a steady pace. He gets 6 receptions this week, 90+ rush yards, and that touchdown to seal that part of the, to seal that little bit of this contract incentive. Then he can just work on catches and yardage. Yeah. Next up, we got Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers for the Raiders. Now, he doesn't have a contract incentive. What he's chasing, he is chasing greatness. He's chasing greatness. So there's 2 records that he can actually beat this week. So first, he needs 16 receptions to beat the rookie reception record, which was set by Puka Nacua last week. Again, that's only 16 receptions through the next 3 weeks, and he is their main receiving target. I've got him for 6.5, meaning 7 receptions this week. I think he's basically the only guy that they can throw to, so they've got to feed him the ball. That's one record he can break, the receptions. Again, another 16 over the season. The other record that he can break, he only needs 109 yards to beat the rookie yardage receiving yardage record that was set by Mike Ditka in 1961. So that's 101 more yards over the 3 games. He has been absolutely balling, so he can hit that one. It's more so about the receptions. Like, can they just keep feeding him that ball? Will they get him to that point? So I've kind of parlayed them together here. At least 7 receptions and 60+ receiving yards. Again, I do see all of these 4 kind of bets as very gettable. If you're feeling super cheeky, if you're feeling super, if you're feeling cheeky, you could parlay them all into one thing and give yourself some better odds. Probably not the smartest thing, but I do like all of that. Now, I do want to talk about a couple of more contract incentives that are not really part of this week or part of my bets. First up, Derrick Henry to get his final contract incentive, performance based. I think is he needs 2 more TDs over the next 2 weeks. They played this week. He didn't get a touchdown. He only needs 2 more over the next 2 weeks. Very likely to happen. I think Derrick Henry gets paid. Who else we got? We've got Marquez Valdez-Scantling for the New Orleans Saints. So he's versing Packers on Monday Night Football. This guy's essentially going to get paid $125K per TD catch. So he's at 4 TDs. He's at 4 touchdowns on the season right now. His incentives are at 5 touchdowns and 7 touchdowns. Both of those incentives grant him $250,000. So essentially every touchdown is worth $125K at least. Again, if he grabs a touchdown this week, boom, that's a cool $250,000, and then he can work on getting another 2 over the next couple of weeks. But that's where MVS is at. Look him to get red zone targets in these last 3 weeks, if the Saints can get down to the end zone. He is a big play monster as well. So even in the alumni section, halfway across the field, you could see him getting some bombs thrown to him to pick up that shit. The other person who has contract incentives, but I couldn't actually put any bets on them because they're questionable this week, is Zach Ertz for Washington against his old team, the Eagles. Again, he's questionable, so I think it's questionable with illness or something, so he couldn't I couldn't put a bet on. He wasn't available. What does he need? He's got a bunch of incentives that he can kind of achieve. Like, first he needs 6, 16, and 26 receptions to hit 3 different incentives. Then he'll need 74, 174, and 274 receiving yards to hit another 3 incentives. And then he'll need 2 TDs and 4 TDs. Not 6 TDs. I'm talking like his incentives are 2 TDs, and then 4 touchdowns. So there's a lot on the plate for Zach Ertz. If he doesn't play this week, it's going to be really hard. But over the next 2 weeks, he should at least be able to hit the early part of these 3 different incentives. So 6 catches over the next 3 weeks, 74 receiving yards over the next 3 weeks, and at least 2 touchdowns over the next 3 weeks. I think he can hit at least those base incentives, but he might only have 2 weeks to do it. I'm assuming he's going to play this week just so that he can try to get closer to this money. But yeah, that's basically it, guys. That's all I wanted to talk about this week. Let's get rid of this. It's the Sean Show. It's the greatest show. I hope you enjoyed today's show, guys. It was a bit of a long one. We did have a bit to talk about. We had quite a bit to talk about. We almost hit the hour, but I'm very kind of happy that we got through all of the games. Again, if you want to see the bets, just go back to the VOD. Have a flick through. See what I've picked. Listen to my thoughts. Change them up if you want. Do your thing. But yeah, signing out today. Appreciate yourself. Appreciate others. Fucking be a good cunt and have a good time. And peace out. I'll catch you guys very soon.